pledge allegiance to the flag
and to the United States of
America,
America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
God,
God, indivisible, with life, liberty, and
justice for all. Okay, we did that.
That was done. Anyway, I would.
Now, we'll have that one down in another 3 or 4 tries.
All right.
Okay, so we've got warrants. So I got all the amounts and where they're from. And I think for the purpose of Zoom, unless somebody else has already like written out all the motions that we'll have to make for appointments and whatnot, I can read the motion and then somebody can say so moved, and then I can call for a vote. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a general fund warrant. It's 63,000. My writing sucks. It's
$79.
yeah,
and-
$63,079.78.
Yes,
You have a rundown on that, Stan?
I do.
Okay.
It's for 4/6/20, 108 invoices. The biggest dollar amount is DPW for $20,000. Now, don't be shocked by the 20,000. We talked about it last year when we got the tool, the tractor for putting the shoulder on the new highways. So we bought a roller, and right now I believe Alan must have 10 times 2, 20, at least 20 miles
Mhm.
of shoulder work to do. And we didn't do any last year because it was October by the time they got done doing their milling. Now we got enough milling pile at the Bay DPW that we will do the shoulder work. We'll also do the shoulder work for where Mrs. Gagne over on the McClom Shore, there's some road edging that need to be done there. That'll also get done. The next piece on that was, and we had $500,000 in that paving fund where this money came out, and that's where we knew what was coming out of there. There's about $4,000 left for the entire year, which is good. Which is very good. MS4 was another one for $12,250. That one, we only show a $30,000 budget, and we're running, I think, 176,000. So we got that reserve money that we rolled over from the previous couple of years. So we will use that. However, we're still good for the DPW overall budget. So we're good shape still. Green Mountain Power was $2,900. And computer software that was out of the town manager's budget was $3,170. That totaled $38,379. So 60% was what we covered in our little talk here. And I would make a motion that we accept this amount of money, $63,079.78.
Okay, anybody want a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0. All right, and we've got 3 payroll warrants. March 20th in the amount of $18,566.52. March 27th, which was $28,313.75.
73.
73, yeah. Payroll, April 3rd, $16,908.66. Anybody want to make a motion to accept all 3 of the payroll warrants?
I'll make a motion to accept the payroll.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Bye. Yeah.
And then we've got An infrastructure account warrant, it's an installment to Matt Young. Oh,
Oh, who?
no way, we got a new dancing partner.
Kathy.
Oh.
Kathy Mashare is connecting to audio.
Hi, Alan. Look at him.
Look at that sweatshirt. I love it.
You can't hear him.
Can't hear you, Alan.
Can you hear Alan?
Just go on. He'll catch up. He doesn't care about the warrants.
Okay, fair enough. Infrastructure development, the LOT fund, Matt Young, we've got a $3,200 installment to him. So we've got an infrastructure development fund warrant in the amount of $3,200. Anybody want to make a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept those warrants.
Okay, and then second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then the DPW reserve, we have a $14,600 warrant to cover the other portion of that roller for the shoulders. So we have a Department of Public Works reserve fund warrant in the amount of $14,600.
So move.
What's he doing?
Can you?
Is that
Need a
John?
second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Guys are great.
All right. So now we have a fire department reserve warrant. It's related to a hazmat incident that we're getting reimbursed on. It's $2,725 for
I'll
the
make
fire
that.
department reserve.
I'll make that motion.
And,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now Anna got some good guidance from VLCT. We can make a motion to appoint one of us to sign the warrants on behalf of everyone. And then it's got to be included in the minutes that, well, actually within the motion, that we're only taking that measure due to COVID-19 and social distancing. And then she can print those minutes off, and then every warrant that the one of us individually signs, she'll staple the minutes right to it. And that's how it'll be recorded. Does anybody want to do that? I mean, I've got nothing going on, but if somebody else wants to do it,
I'll make a motion that we have our town manager, Carrie,
I don't know if it can.
sign
I
the
think it-
payroll.
I would love to do that, but it has to be a select board member. That's one of the few duties
All right,
you must still do.
put a hand up.
Brendan offered. I don't,
But it'd be
Okay, I'll
nice if
do
it
it.
was somebody in that area. It would be nice.
Jonathan, you live right around the corner. I mean, I'm bored and I live 4 miles away. It doesn't, whatever.
It's all you
Go
then.
for it, Brendan.
Okay, so somebody's got to make a motion to allow me to sign due to COVID-19.
I'll make a motion to allow Brendan to sign all the warrants due to COVID-19.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. And that's literally just so somebody can sign it so we can get the checks cut. So now we're on to appointments.
What about minutes?
Oh, minutes, sorry,
thank you.
went
Steve.
out of order. The only correction I had to the minutes was the March 16th minutes. Costas is spelled C-O-S-T-E-S. And in the minutes, it was C-O-S-T-A-S.
Thank you.
Just what's up. Anybody else have anything from any of the minutes?
The other thing on page 3, the board agreed to have a special meeting to talk about Mrs. Brown's property. So we need to do something with that. It's not anything that would prevent us from approving these minutes, but
Yeah, I
it's
just wanted
something
to
that needs
mention
to
it.
be done.
Yeah, we did say that we were gonna do it, and then we pushed it off due to the COVID stuff that was happening. Does anybody have any other corrections? We've got the select board meeting minutes of March 16th, a regular 6:30 meeting, and then our special meeting on Tuesday, March 24th, that took place at 8 a.m.
I think unless I missed it for the special Tuesday, the 24th, I think we, in the section where we're talking about the town hall relocation project, we talked, where Stan talks about us setting our priorities. I think that's where we mentioned, Carrie brought up making sure that we schedule the special meeting with the planning commission. And so I'm not sure if that was the same spot, but I know we talked about it in the special meeting about seeing if that would still happen.
If it's not there, we'll add it because we did talk about it. I don't know if you still want to do it given everything, but
Mhm.
I mean, if we're gonna have the, I don't know, I mean, I don't see, it would be hard to do it with all those people.
on Zoom, you mean?
Yeah, that's why I don't know if we could, I
I
don't know, it
think
seems
with,
like all the trends today, and it could change as soon as, 20 minutes from now, but it seems like everything's gonna die down around the middle of May.
I think when we're talking real estate, it should be just the select board with Carrie.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking about a priority meeting though with the
Yeah.
PC like we did last year.
I wonder if instead, if we stated our priorities or what we thought the town's priorities should be, and then share that with the planning commission and ask for feedback on if that aligns with what they see as their priorities, or have them send us their priorities for 2020 and we can discuss that. So maybe there's
Why don't we do a little homework and write
Okay.
down our top 5 priorities for this year? Now that we know what's kind of basically what's going on with COVID, and we're in it for the long haul. And let's email them all to Jen and Carrie, and then we'll see. I remember doing that one time. We had a bunch of priorities, and then somebody took everybody's individual list and put it into a combined list, and we were able to see how many of us said the same things. So that could be helpful. And then we could turn around and just take those results without even discussing them and shoot it over to the planning commission. Or we could discuss them and then shoot it over after we've had a chance to talk as a group.
Okay, so first we need to approve the minutes and then we can talk about
Right.
doing that prioritization.
So the 16th and the 24th, so Aaron, did you want to add something in there that said that we talked about scheduling a meeting?
yeah, on the 24th, we talked about scheduling a meeting with the planning commission to talk about priorities.
That work? Carrie? That works to add that?
Jen's gonna do that. Yep.
Okay, so let's have somebody make a motion to approve the minutes of the 24th and 16th as amended.
I'll make
I'll
a
make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Oh.
Aaron, you want to second it?
Sure, I'll second it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Now we can go on to public comment. And Alan, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Fun watching you guys.
Well, that's good. I mean, you got to have some entertainment in life, right?
I had a question about public comment. I don't know if maybe this is a other topics section, but I know there's been problems with Zoom around there's like 2 Zoom streams, of one for the meeting and then a call in for people that want to listen, and then they could chat in, I think, their comments or questions. I don't know if I think that's what they're doing with meetings at the State House, because they've had some issues with
Security.
people bombing, not like Zoom bombing the meetings.
But we should do so it's almost like we should have a camera pointing directly at like a screen that's just into the call, and then have that be broadcasted to a separate call that's available to the public.
No, I mean, I did that with our regional planning meeting, so Sean can probably guide us on how to do that. The last EMD call I was on with him, they did that, so you could chat on the side. Like, say somebody can only phone in, they could at least phone in, listen to everything, and then type in their questions on the side, and everyone in the group could see it at that time. So possible, we just didn't do it for tonight.
Well, we can figure.
And no one actually called in asking for access. Well, we gave Alan access, but
Yeah, we had to.
He bagged me.
You're a member of the public, unfortunately.
but this is being recorded. The meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, anybody can rewatch this.
We can.
Appointment. Well, let's get it, we'll make it more accessible somehow. We'll figure out. I'll look up what other towns are doing, or if anybody sees something that another organization is doing that we could copy. So we've got the DRB is the first set of appointments. Christina Boisano is my aunt, my mother. Arthur O'Meridian, he's a nice enough guy. He's been a good member. And Tom Stanhope. At one point, we were having some attendance issues with Tom. Has that been kind of rectified, or?
I have no idea. I don't, I think it's gotten somewhat better, but I don't know if it's entirely resolved.
Becky's on top of things. If she thought it would have been a problem, she probably would have told us, knowing that his appointment was coming up. That, and I will say I attended a DRB meeting with Carrie about the pool. And Peter Cross walked away saying how he thought that our board was very fair. And that was a very good meeting. And Arthur and Christina participated in that pretty heavily. I think Tom was there too. So I guess somebody could make a motion at their own will to reappoint all three of them for 3-year terms.
Anybody?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Christine Boisano, Arthur Womacara, and Tom Stanhope for, what is it, a 3-year term?
Yep, 3-year terms.
3-year term.
We have seconds?
I'll second it.
Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So those guys get to continue their public service. So Planning Commission. Here, I need to,
Well,
can anybody hear that heater running in the background? Do I need to turn that off, or are we good?
no, we can't hear it, but DRB alternatives, we don't have any, and I thought we were gonna let Jonathan's expire unless he wanted in on that too.
You want to go back to being an alternate, Jonathan?
No.
Okay, that was pretty emphatic.
Okay, just making sure, that's what I thought. All right, so Planning Commission.
So we have Ann Larner Pomeroy. Do we want to appoint all 3 of these? Let's have somebody make a motion to reappoint Ann, if that works, for a
And the
3-year term.
And the suggestion on Aaron over Grant is just a suggestion. I don't know who wants off of that more.
Well, I read Hannah's letter and it said that she was like interested in learning more about the planning commission.
I know, I get it. I got the same impression.
We want to like ask her for a more conclusive letter before we appoint her. Okay, so let's reappoint Ann Larner Pomeroy for a 3-year term. Does that work?
I move that we reappoint Ann Pomeroy for a 3-year term.
Okay,
I'll second it.
second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Al Vogel wants to get on and essentially replace Brent Brigham, who wants to just do planning commission, or not. He doesn't want to do planning commission anymore, just DRB. It's fair. I mean, he's done double duty for like 10 years or more.
He didn't want it to be a life sentence, is what he said to me.
Fair enough. So, I don't know.
Just a minute. Carrie, have you talked with Al? Does he still want this after his visit?
I talked to him this afternoon, and he said that he wants to be involved and he expects to be out of where he's at sometime this week, and he would appreciate being appointed to whatever we saw fit. That he still wants to stay involved. He expects to recover.
So I think that's a yes. Did you hear that, Stan?
I did.
Thank
you.
Yeah, he's got his cell phone if anybody wants to text him to see how he is. He is able to text. Yeah, so does anybody have any discussion about appointing Al, or does anybody want to make a motion? Or?
I'll make a motion. We appoint Al Vogel for the planning commission.
For a 3-year term?
Is that what it is? Yeah, 3-year term.
Okay, and we had a second somewhere?
I'll second it.
Okay, perfect. All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, so,
So that means that right now we will not change Aaron or Grant's term. Maybe they can talk about it at the next PC meeting. And I will also contact Hannah Rounds to find out if she wants in.
yeah. I'd love to go ahead and appoint her, but I don't know that it was like totally a willing thing
She-
yet.
Right.
So RPC, regional planning, Al, and then Sarah had got on last year, and they both want to be reappointed. Anybody have any issue or think anybody else would do a better job, or? Well, good. Anybody feel free to throw a motion out there at any time during these.
I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah Had and Al Vogel to NRPC.
Or is it a 1-year term?
It is.
It
Yeah.
is.
A 1-year term.
I'll
Seconds? Okay, Aaron got the second. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. Now we're on to TAC, the Transportation Advisory Council Committee. And,
Oh, we need the water one.
Clear
oh,
water.
that's right. He's on the,
Alan,
Alan on Clean Water Advisory. You want to continue?
I'd like to, and for the TAC if I could.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got you there.
They're both on the
Right.
same, so I might as well just hit them both.
Makes sense.
Sounds fun.
So we need a motion to appoint Alan Maschер to the Clean Water Advisory Committee for a 1-year term.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Al Master to the Clearwater Advisory Committee.
Okay, say,
Second it.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we're on to TAC. We need another select person. It used to be Bruce Cheeseman. We need a select board member to join Alan at the Transportation Advisory Committee meetings. They're Thursday nights around, I think, what, like 6 o'clock?
6:30.
And
It's
they're
the
usually,
day of every month.
they usually have pizza too, right?
This month's,
I'll be with them.
You want to go, Stan?
Sure.
Okay, that sounds good to me if it does with everybody else. Okay, looking at somebody for a motion to appoint Stan and Al to a 1-year term to represent the town on the Transportation Advisory Committee.
I'll make that motion to reappoint Alan Mashter to the Transportation Advisory Council and appoint Stan to to the Transportation Advisory Council as well.
I'll second it.
Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. I think Al Vogel might actually be like the director or president of the Solid Waste District Board right now.
I think he is as well. Mhm.
And he wants to go back on, and that works. If that works, it's good with me.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we appoint Al Vogel for the Northwest Vermont Solid Waste District.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Perfect.
So I'd like to make a change to the next 2 items. I don't believe we need to appoint a constable. I've already talked to Everett Herbert and indicated to him that I would not recommend having him reappointed. I think when we don't need this job for anything really. When we have a service request, I usually ask the PD.
And we should just abolish the office and donate the badge to the Historical Society and call it a day.
And include that service when needed with our police contract that's coming up.
So why don't we could put that on the ballot in November, probably, to just dissolve the office. It's kind of like listers, same deal. That's my opinion. How does everybody else feel about it?
Well, we'll find out if we have to do that first. If we do, then we can put it on the next election.
How does everybody else feel about that strategy?
All right.
Sounds fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Robert Bissett wants to be reappointed to the Northwest Vermont Rail Trail Council. He's very involved, good representative. I very much would support him being reappointed.
I make a motion to appoint Robert Bissett to the Rail Trail Council.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Perfect. And is that the end of it? That might be the end. Look, I'm trying to look at the meeting packet. Yeah, so tree warden, can we get rid of that position too?
Tree warden?
Been talking about it for a long enough time.
Yep. And again, not used very much.
Right. I mean, isn't that just like somebody, if there's a tree in the town's right away, the tree warden has to sign off on cutting it down or something? It's like it's a position of drama.
Yeah,
What?
sometimes they settle disputes if Alan wants to cut down all the maples on a certain road or something, you know?
Well, I think the last bad one was the corner of Lake and Kellogg. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway,
There's
nobody wants that office and nobody's wanted it in the last 3 years, so
That's correct. So
or
we'll,
longer. Police Advisory Committee. I think the select board needs a meeting for like a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour at most, to talk about what our strategy should be for bidding out the police contract, what the RFP should look like. I think this year, especially with the contract, I think we're going to end up doing most of the work anyway. We're to a point now where we're in our last year of our contract starting July 1. We need to give if we picked a different law enforcement agency, we would need to give them a good amount of time to set up for us, because I don't think there's any department that could just absorb us, except SAPD. So I don't know if we let the police advisory board give us advice, they're going to need a few months to come up with whatever their advice is going to be, and that's going to put us a little further behind the ball. I don't know if we just want to do this ourselves this year and kind of suspend the police advisory board for a year. No.
fine with it. It seems redundant right now.
I believe we should wait and do it ourselves. It's really, this police advisory board for the last 3 years has been more of a safety board and not concentrating on policing activity. So I believe this year we need to get together and understand what we want to do.
The resident that wanted to be appointed had a pretty impressive request. That was my one, I'd love to put him somewhere. I don't know if we could talk to him and ask him if maybe he would be interested in planning commission.
Does he want to be town agent?
Yeah, that too. But I mean, he's just got such a well-rounded skill set that I don't see any of us on any of our volunteer boards having. So I would hate to turn him away by not appointing him to the police advisory committee, but I'd like to, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'd like to find a spot for him. Maybe we could talk to him tomorrow and say, hey, we didn't appoint, if that's what the board does. We didn't appoint you, but we want to appoint you to something, and here's what we have available. If you have any questions.
Would there be a benefit though to keeping the advisory committee, because if we are going through an RFP process, to have another body of folks, especially people that are in the community, to give us feedback on our vetting process? Is that part of what would happen? Or maybe I just need to understand the role a little bit better, but I think it's a big enough decision. Having more people involved might be beneficial, especially the folks that have been part of the council for a bit. They have a perspective that certainly, folks that haven't been on it wouldn't have. So
I think that what they would do would be look over our RFP with probably Carrie, go through it, vet it, and then recommend it first off. And that would take time. So that whatever time they need to give us a recommendation, whether or not we accept it right off and it's no big deal is a whole different story, but there's time. It's just a time factor. Is giving them the time to give us thoughtful advice worth sacrificing the amount of time that it would take? Is given that we're, if we put an RFP out, we're probably going to want to talk about it end of April, maybe have it out sometime end of May. do by end of June maybe, and then you've got a year. I mean, we've got to make a selection, which could be a process, and then you've got to give somebody ideally at least 6 to 8 months if we picked a different outlet or a different office to work with. They'll have to fit up and hire staff.
But what about keeping the, I mean, maybe if they're not involved in the RFP process, like just, I mean, there's still, I would think, a function of reviewing our current policing with our current contract and maintaining a certain advisory level with the current contract through the end of it. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. We've got a group of willing participants and volunteers that have been contributing their time, and I just wouldn't want to miss out on their perspective if we have them.
Well, the interesting thing there is that there's only been about 4 members that come regularly to that meeting, and Jonathan and I are 2 of them. So Mark Leclerc comes only occasionally, and Chief Taylor only comes as needed. So normally, I think you're right with your assessment, Aaron, but in this case, there's not. We could ask this new person and maybe Mark Leclerc if they want to participate in your special meeting, if you want to have them listen, but
Yeah, we could ask people for advice without having a formal committee.
without having the formal committee, correct?
Jonathan, what do you think? You were on the advisory committee for a while.
I mean, if the people are there, at least they're there. If there's ever an issue that comes up, say, who knows, like maybe we start patrolling the bay, hopefully not, but you know what I mean? At least the board's there, you know, even if it meets every quarter or something, you know what I mean? I just think it's beneficial a little bit. I think it's beneficial.
You think if we kept it operational that we'd have to involve them in the police contract this year?
No, I don't think you have to. We can decide whatever we want to do with that board. But
I really think that
5 members that want to do something with the town, or 4, whatever it is. I
let them
see
continue.
Cross on there, but I can't believe. I think that must have been.
He came occasionally when it was public safety.
Oh, he did. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I say keep it. You know, it's just as long as everybody still wants to be on it.
Yeah, and then maybe we just do the RFP
Right.
on our own. And then once we start to get proposals, we can kind of decide on the fly if we want to review from a third party.
Right. And if
That's okay.
if they don't like it, they don't have to be part of the advisory committee, right?
Right, okay, yeah. So we could, so the question is, do we appoint, I don't want to butcher the pronunciation of this gentleman's last name. Oflich? Oflich?
Oflich?
Oflich, okay, we'll go with that. And then Al Vogel, they want to be appointed. Al's already a member in his terms up. Or he thinks that it's up because he was a select board member and now he's not.
Al was a member as a select board, so you will have to appoint him if you want him as a member of the general public.
And, okay, so
I
we
have
could,
another question about that board. I mean, wouldn't they want to have some input before we do the RFP? Like, or do they know what areas the community might see as lacking in our policing and be able to have some input?
how long do you think it would take them to review an RFP, Carrie? Be able to give us, they're gonna have to like take it home with them, absorb it, and then meet again.
I mean, I would say 2 or 3 weeks anyway, and frankly, yeah, I mean, I could send them a template that we used last time, but as far as additions, I don't know. And frankly, right now, there's not a lot of time here to do other than emergency management planning. So I'm gonna need at least 3 weeks. I don't have a ton of time.
Yeah, my
Thank
only
you.
thought was if we don't go with SA with the city police next year, it might be good to have more people involved in that decision, because public perception is that they're very good at their jobs, but you know, we don't all agree with that. So it might, you know, when we put the bid out, we might have differing opinions, and the more input we can get from people in the community to make that decision, it might be worthwhile.
And
But I don't really know exactly what that committee does. So
what if we had what if this first special meeting we had was a joint meeting? I don't know if we could facilitate that with Zoom, given all the people. It'd be like, well, like probably 12 people by the time we were all on. I don't know. I mean, I just want to get the RFP out no later than June 1st,
At least
ideally.
with Police advisory, it would just be adding Al and Mike and I guess Bob and Mark and
And Rear Admiral.
yeah.
Admiral Ham, I don't know how technologically savvy he is, but he's in the at-risk population, so we couldn't really include him unless.
He could call in. You can use a phone-in number.
We could give him the meeting. Yeah, you're right. He could enter a participant ID and be fine.
So,
Okay.
so right now, let's make one decision. Do you want the police advisory committee or not? To continue.
So it sounds like we've got 3 yeses and a no and a probably no out of me. So that sounds like we want to keep it. So let's go on to the 2 appointments.
Okay.
Mike Hoflich and Al Vogel.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Mike Hoflich and Al Vogel to the Police Advisory Committee.
How long are those terms, Gary?
Oh, 1 year, right?
I think they're all 1 year, which means we need a select board member. If Jonathan's going to continue on that, then that can be him and Warren Ham and Mark Leclerc.
You want to continue, Jonathan?
And yes, I will continue.
Okay.
So do I gotta include, well, I gotta include everybody, right?
Friendly amendment, we'll add those 3 names to your motion.
As
Okay.
well as your, well, can he make it to appoint himself?
Sure.
Okay, if that works.
I think it's
Okay.
okay.
If the motion passes. it's
Yeah, if the
fine.
motion passes.
Dan, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints I heard about the Police Advisory Committee is the hours they meet, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Anybody that works cannot attend the meeting or wouldn't put their name in to be on that board because the meetings are always at 1 o'clock.
Jonathan, does that board have a formal chair?
I don't think so, no. I think.
Organize with a chair and a vice chair and then bring that up like right off the bat and see. I mean, I hate to do it to the staff member that would have to attend, but maybe we can move it to like 4. Just try to make it a little easier for a working person to attend.
Good.
What do you think? What does everybody think?
I think people say that sometimes, and we have not had, we fight for member representation on all our other boards. It's worth a try, but I'm a little skeptical we're gonna get a ton of people showing up.
That, and I think a lot of people are gonna come out of the woodwork and wanna get appointed to that once they figure out that we gave it some kind of a say in the contract process.
Yep.
That's another angle. Somebody who has some,
Don't forget, Brendan, over the last couple of years, it has not been a police advisory board.
it's been public safety, really.
It's been mostly safety.
But we don't really, I mean, we can make a decision to, only utilize them in certain parts of the process, if at all. I mean, we just get a special meeting on the books with Zoom sometime in April when we're all free. Maybe Jen, could you do a doodle poll for that, Jen?
Sure.
That'd
You
be
want to-
perfect.
2 weeks from now?
Sure. That work for everybody?
No, I'm sorry. 2 weeks from now is when your other select board meeting is.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have to be the 13th or the last month, the 2nd or 4th week.
You gonna do it next Monday? At,
I would not like to do it next Monday. If you want me to have any intelligible input into the RFP, I mean, this week with the emergency stuff,
you wanna do it, how about the last Monday in April?
I don't want to,
27.
Work
yeah,
on it.
want it on a Monday, 27th. Could we,
It didn't have to be, I'm just trying to like,
well, if a lot of people are home, you and I talked about maybe even having it later
Yeah.
in the afternoon. Doesn't have
can
to be.
anybody do it at like 3? That way we can end it around no later than 4 and Carrie can go home and not have to stay late.
Well, it's-
I don't know my schedule yet. I'm changing jobs, so I'm not sure yet what my schedule is going to be.
Congratulations in order there.
Thanks. But yeah, so I'm not sure what my schedule will look like, but if I have enough advance notice, hopefully I can put it on my calendar.
So we want to loosely tack that up then, the 27th at 3 o'clock,
What day of the week is that? I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Monday.
That's a Monday?
Yeah, Monday's fine.
we'll say at 3 or 4-ish, just block the time off. And if that helps Aaron, then, you know, we can move it out a little bit. We don't need a doodle poll, and if we're all kind of in agreement.
Yeah,
That's for
well,
the
that works.
police advisory stuff. All right, I think we're done that, right? The
Well, did we ever vote on Jonathan's motion?
We need a
No,
second
no.
vote.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, Stan, did you have a vote on that one? I got 3 here.
Right, I'm not voting.
Okay, so that's 301. All right, Carrie, floor is yours. Or the screen, or whatever we call it.
The rules for these meetings are if it's not unanimous, we need a roll call, but I think Jen got that. Oop, I'm looking for I put this out of order. So I'm just gonna briefly go over the points that I share with you. There's nobody really listening, so I guess it's gonna be super brief, but every day I send the select board updates on what Gary Taylor and I talk about and on the emergency management COVID front. I think the big change and what I like that the state EOC does is they send us an update, but they put the new information in red, which is really helpful, so we don't have to read the 5 pages of updates. I sent you all on Friday an update from the Governor Scott's press conference that included their new numbers. I guess the information I found out, and I'm going to shorten up a whole page here, but is that as far as the labor secretary is stating, you know, these new guidelines for unemployment insurance help individuals, and the state's processing thousands and thousands of these claims a year. But for the self-employed individuals, Scott admitted today, or the Secretary of Labor admitted that the Fed guidelines that they needed to before they could even build their application were received today by the state. And the state is trying in the next week to finish that application process. And once they finish that application process, they will slowly in phases roll that out to the self-employed. So if a self-employed person calls you, there's information on our COVID tab on our website, but the big news is that they waited for about 9 days, which seems like an eternity right now. But the Fed guidelines are finally received at the state level. The new information I sent you today had to do with the fact that Franklin County EM emergency management directors are gathering about once a week just to make sure we're all figure out if there's anything other people are doing that we should be doing and vice versa, sharing information. The police department, as you know, is in phase 4 of their continuity plan. And just before Alan joined, I told a few select board members, but not everybody, that we're having some issues with people not practicing social distancing in the playground. And so Alan is going to work with some staff to tape off parts of it and encourage social distancing and best practices, but we may in fact have to close our own park, which we don't want to do. The prison, I asked for an update on the prison. Our Northwest State Correctional Facility that always gets tagged as being in Swanton on the news has told me that Mike Bayor is now the current superintendent. Greg Hale was doing both prisons, but is now staying in the Newport prison, and so he wouldn't, just for now, so he wouldn't risk putting his staff, contaminating the staff, obviously. And right now I was made aware that there's at least one company, the police have said they've got a lot of calls of people complaining of non-compliance in the governor's order for essential workforce. There's one company that, there's no quick way around this, so was reported to the Attorney General's office for non-compliance because they gave a different reason for being open to our health officer that they did to the PD, and we're fairly certain because some employees have complained to us, and it's only the 10 of us here, so it's peerless. And they're going to be contacted, I'm sure, by the Attorney General to ask why they're still open. I don't know why, but hundreds of employees have been seen there when they claim to only be there for deliveries and cleaning.
Deliveries make up a large amount of their portfolio now. They send a lot of direct shipments to customers for like Macy's and other.
But all those places are shut down.
They're all shut
Yeah,
down.
no, I'm just saying, like, even if they said that they're only there for shipping, that could very well take 200 people. I don't know.
That's one of the 3 reasons they gave, and I think it's above our pay grade at this point.
Yeah, no, let somebody else deal with that.
So
Thank-
it's not what we wanted to do, but there's been rumblings and employees have called and said they're not part of shipping, they're not part of delivery, they're not part of the cleaning crew, and they're being told to go to work or they're gonna get fired, and they won't get their unemployment insurance. So
Really?
these are very real people that are calling and making these claims, and I get their claims. At this point, they're alleged, but there were enough allegations that it got brought to the next level. So the best thing we can do is not to comment on that, but I just
Oh,
wanted
definitely. Yeah.
wanted you aware of it in case the press get a hold of it. And that's it for right now. We're continuing our operations here at Town Hall. The other thing I want to do with this section is you guys should have a continuity of operations plan in your packets. This can be our draft one, but I would very much like to get this approved today in a motion in the minutes. This is often a requirement if we're going to ask for FEMA reimbursement. We don't have a lot of those costs right now. The fire department may have some. They've gone to extraordinary measures to change their protocols. So there's some things there. We at best spent money on getting people remote access and the Zoom membership and things like that, but this could start to add up. So.
You've got a lot of time into this too. A lot of like weekend time and nights.
Some, but Jen worked with Sean Coleman. He married our hazard mitigation plan with what FEMA requires. So I want to give Sean his due and Jen for working on this, because in normal times, we often question why we even pay for regional planning, and this is a reason. This is one of them. So I'm looking for a motion to approve our continuity of operation plans, or edit it and then approve it, but I'm really looking for approval today.
I think I had that in my packet. Did it go out via email?
I don't know. It looks like this.
Yeah, it wasn't in the packet. I had it separately. That's why I emailed it. I'm sorry.
My apologies.
Did you send it separate?
I thought no. I should have been included in the.
You need a special meeting to get that approved, Carrie? Like a 5-minute thing. I know you wanted it today.
So nobody has a copy of it?
I mean, I did, but
How'd you get it?
I don't remember. I might have read it at your desk, actually. I don't know that I actually have a digital copy.
No, I think Carrie gave them out on the.
Yeah, at our last
20th.
meeting.
Yeah,
The 16th, but we didn't talk about it.
no, we did not.
We talked briefly about it.
Has it been changed at all since that draft that you gave us?
Well, no, it hasn't, but
I do remember seeing it there, but yeah, and it's good.
I don't remember it having a cover page actually, but I remember
I gave
it's
you
a checklist basically, and you filled it out as needed, right? It was a template.
no. I gave you there's 2 versions of a COOP. Basically, one of them was just the short version that FEMA requires. This is the actual one that tells you. It lays out like, hey, if you have a 1-day interruption of service, or if there's a 2 to 7 day interruption, if there's a month-long interruption, who's replacing whom in a serious event. So you haven't seen this.
No.
We're gonna have to do it next time. I can't have you approve something you haven't even seen. It was insurance for me, so we're gonna have to do it at our next meeting. That's all.
You want to do it before then? I mean, we're looking at 2 weeks.
I know. I don't think we're in that much danger at this point.
Well, if it comes up, we can do it enough. I mean,
You could make a motion that you approve the one on the 16th, which is a short 6-page one with the short checklist on it, so that we have one. But this one is the one that we would actually use. If that makes sense to you.
is there any value in approving the one from the last month?
Yeah, there's always a little value, and just kind of see why.
Right, somebody would make that motion, and we can pick up the other one. And if a need comes out of it, where Carrie thinks she needs it sooner than our next meeting, we can get together and call something.
Okay.
So the continuity of operations plan as presented at our March 16th, 2020 meeting.
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the COOP, the continuity of operations plan as presented on March 16th.
Okay, any questions? Oh, second, sorry. Second.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you.
Jonathan, you still there? Oh, he might not be. It looks frozen.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm like, he's not moving at all.
Sorry, bud. I kind of want to.
All right, so Bay Day,
Do you vote? Do you vote yes on the continuity of operations plan as presented on the 16th? Jonathan, we lost you
Yes.
for a second. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
All right. 4-0. Sorry.
Thank you. Bay Day, Alan and I talked about this briefly. As you know, there's a lot of large gathering events that are already being canceled. And Alan was contacted by the Lisa Marie asking because some of the great race sponsors have already backed out. So the short version is both of us were thinking seriously about rescheduling Bay Day.
Date in mind yet?
You want to add to that, Alan?
I just, knowing that the Dairy Festival is already canceled in Enosburg, first part of June, and with this lingering on, it's going to go into May. I just don't think we should be the town that has a big event that close after this epidemic. I think I did reach out to the fireworks company. They're willing to postpone. They'll do any day we want with the fireworks. They'll give us credit towards next year if that's what we decide, but
100% credit?
what's that?
100% credit?
Yes. But
Because we always pay
Yeah.
for all of the fireworks in advance. We get a discount on it.
Yeah, I remember. It was back in like January, wasn't
I
it?
know, but the new people might not know. The new people.
Sorry,
I mean,
forget.
or they've already purchased in fireworks, so it isn't like we get the money back. They've already purchased that stuff.
Okay, so they'll just use it later on or give us an equivalent.
I just feel, and I talked to Carrie, is maybe later in the season, we still have some kind of a celebration of this being done. It gives people something to look forward to. I know I've already postponed the hot rod show for this year. So
I mean, we were kind of, we were kind of thinking September, but if September didn't work out, then, just scratching it for the year. We just didn't want thousands of people joining.
Check out a date, and then when you have a date in mind where we're not competing with other regional events that might have rescheduled, there might be value in getting that done soon because a lot of events might go to reschedule. And if we get a date before other people, they won't want to compete. So yeah, I would say you guys get together, pick a date whenever you think is appropriate, and then claim it as your own before other people start looking to do the same. How's the board feel about it?
I think that's a responsible thing to do. I will say that, we could pick a date, and I think that's a hopeful, good thing to do. I think we have to be prepared that dealing with COVID-19 is going to be more like pumping the brakes on a snowy road. There might be additional times that we need to practice physical distancing in order to deal with any additional outbreaks that would happen. So, let's aim for having a date, but understanding that there might need to be additional times that we meet via Zoom.
From our resident healthcare expert. Thank you, Eric. Anybody else have a statement? I mean, I feel pretty well satisfied with exactly what Aaron said. You don't need a motion from us. You can just go ahead and.
I don't need a motion. This is more of a policy thing than an Alan and Carrie deciding in the office thing, so it's a big
Do you
deal.
want a motion or you just
No,
good on
but-
consensus?
I just wanted everyone to be involved in the discussion. It's a big event for us, so.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, good with that. Town hall relocation. Project manager, I didn't put that part in there. We did receive 5 bids. I have not reviewed them since I received them a few days ago. But I plan to do that. And did you put the bid summary sheet in here? No, we have a bid summary sheet we're going to put together. I can say honestly, you've heard from a number of consultants that some of these engineers are still working at home and willing to work at home. So might be able to get some of this work done going forward, but I'm going to bring it to the 420 meeting. Salt shed update, Matt. We did, we did send out an RFQ. And that is moving forward, which is great because we got contacted at least by one bidder, Connor Contracting. So that's moving forward.
Do we have a number that we can maybe have it emailed to us but not discussed out loud?
So an RFQ means because this
Oh,
is state
sorry.
qualified, we're just getting qualifications.
Yep, sorry.
We don't have anything exciting like a number.
Yep, sorry. My bad.
Old salt shed. As in your packets, you probably saw this. I was contacted like a couple of months ago, asked them to wait till after the election, but SASA would like to use our old salt shed for a small mini practice rink. And I thought it sounded like a good use of that building once we're out of it.
That's it. So there's three prerequisites that I would have, because I think it's an awesome idea. Number one, we have to have our new one up and running and be out of the old one. 2, they'd have to give us a liability waiver that passive our insurance carrier would accept. And then 3, us saying yes, go for it, conditioned on the first 2, does not include a negotiation or guarantee that will improve any lighting. They want lighting improvements or some kind of a partitioned area to do changing. I don't know that, especially in the middle of this crisis, that we can commit to spending any additional monies. But if they want to spend, $2,500 to put some LEDs in, a partitioned area for a changing room in the salt shed, as long as they're not making permanent changes to the building beyond the lighting, that's.
Well, I think they were even talking about using the brine room as a warm-up room because it already had a little bit of heat and it was separate, so. And
Yeah,
they
what
were
do you
talking
think
about
that would work for them, Alan?
I think the billing would work. Just the brine room, they'd have to go outside and then back in because there's a cement wall in between. We'd have to cut through a cement wall to make an access door.
Now that they can walk out and walk in, they're gonna be ready to play hockey, so it's not like they're gonna get too cold or anything. Their skates gonna be able to walk on whatever's in the middle between,
we can put mats down for that, I think.
or they can just walk in barefoot on there.
Well, they'll figure it out. I mean,
Yeah, they can figure it out, that's right.
Would this impact our ability, I don't know what our timeline is for dismantling any of the current structures at the DPW site, but would this impact any timelines around that to clear any buildings that we want to take down or take out?
I don't think so. Alan?
The old building would have been down by now if we didn't have this virus.
You're talking the old fire station?
Yeah, the blue building.
But I
If
will.
you go over there and give it a good solid push, it'll probably come down anyway.
You'd be surprised. That's actually kind of solid. It's just old and not up to par. But SASA will, it will work for their rink. They will have to do a little work. I don't think they have the power or the compressors or whatever. There's going to be wiring, so they're going to have to work at it a little bit.
We're not committing to pay for that, I wouldn't think.
No, I mean, what I'm asking today is if I should have SASA representatives attend, quote unquote, our next meeting just to answer questions from you guys.
I'd love to tell them that it's okay on a few
Yeah.
conditions. I mean,
And I think
don't know,
also if it's just 1 year at a time. There's no guarantee for next year.
They were really clear about that, and we were in agreement that it's temporary. This is not meant to be a permanent.
also a portalet is like $106 a month usually, so they should get one. That should be part of whatever we agree to. They get a portalet to use in their own. I would very much appreciate if those poor kids didn't have to be subjected to that bathroom that Alan and his employees had to deal with for such a long time. That bathroom is never to be used again by official policy. The pictures of that on my phone, they make my eyes burn.
So what do you want to do about it tonight?
I think we should give them the okay based on a few conditions. Or do we want to have them come in at our next meeting via Zoom like this and then say what we are? They're going to tell us what we already know and then basically object or accept our conditions. I think if we gave them conditions now, they're going to do the same thing without having to call in.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
I've always wanted a public skating rink for the town for public skating, not hockey. And I've looked into synthetic ice, and the price of it would probably be cheaper than upgrading electrical, doing their compressors and freezing and stuff. And when I did talk to SASA, because they did come and look at the building and they talked to me, they know that it's the size of a practice rink, so maybe they'd be willing to buy the synthetic ice to practice on. And they did say they were only going to practice on weekends or on weekdays. I mean, so the town could actually have the skating rink for public skating on the weekends when it would be available for families and on holidays, but we wouldn't have to spend the money on the synthetic ice.
Knowing SASA, I don't know if they would agree to that. They're very protective of their assets. Usually if they pay for something, it's for their exclusive benefit. Do you get any kind of a wishy-washy commitment on anybody, or?
I think they would work with us, like Alan says, if we've got the building.
We didn't put any money into it at all. I feel like they would use that as a way to tell us they need X, Y, and Z in the building upgraded.
But we have put
Given-
money into it. We got the building and the parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, the counter to that's gonna be, well, if you want the public to use it, your building needs $5,000 worth of electrical and lighting, and we want you to pay for it. I mean, we can go through the steps and see what they say.
It might be worth having them come just so we can have this conversation. And then
Yeah.
if anyone else calls in and has a question for SASA related to this, then that gives the public an opportunity to weigh in as well.
I agree with Aaron, I think. Everybody feel like that's a good call?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to talk to them. And I like Alan's idea. I'm just nervous about putting too much infrastructure in and then being limited with what we can do in the future because money's been invested in that area.
The beauty of synthetic ice, it snaps together. You can pick it up and move it.
Oh, okay.
We're already putting a rink in. I mean, it's going to cost them money one way or the other. With the compressor and having water and upgrading electrical for those compressors, it might be their better option to do this. And sounds like Carrie said, we have the building, we have the parking lot. It's worth the question. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not sure they were gonna go to the compressor expense. I think they were just looking for the wind cover and rain, but we'll ask them. So I guess we all are in agreement that we should talk to them at the next meeting.
Yeah. What do you think, Stan?
I don't know. Can we take public property and give it or loan it or whatever we're going to do to a private group so they could do their thing? Can we do that? Is it
So would
legal?
we have it open to anybody else is my question. If we didn't do this, what would we do with it?
I think we can, but we can ask our insurance company. I mean, that's a really easy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what would, if we did not do this specific thing with SASA, what else would we do this coming winter with that the rest of the public could enjoy? Or are you saying that as in, like what Alan's saying, that the public should be allowed to use it even if they pay for the ice?
Right, it's public property, public building, and I don't think we can have just a single identity have what they're going to do with it on public property.
I think
Raise
there's
that on whenever we have them there.
private partnerships though, so I mean,
I think we could if we really wanted to, Stan, but I think that's a point that you should make to them. I think that would kind of echo what Alan had to say, and we should see what their response would be.
Is, you know, we may have people say, well, I want an indoor soccer rink. So when the ice is gone, they use it for soccer.
Mhm.
We have no planned use for it as the town.
Not really, not yet.
we don't have any yet, right?
Yeah, and like Jessica said, this would be year to year. If we can help them patch a problem for 1 or 2 years, all the better.
It sounded like once they find something, they're going to put money into it and continue to build on it. It's what it sounded like to me.
I mean, we can make it clear to them whenever they attend one of our meetings via Zoom that that's not an option here. Or we can tell them that we want to develop it into a recreation area. I think it would make a good home for our next town hall if we decided and the, environmental testing came back,
I think we're
positive. But
I think we need to move on. We're gonna talk about this again. in
yeah,
2
let's have them come in and we'll go from there. That work?
That'd be great.
Where did we leave relocation, the town hall?
The actual fact that I received 5 bids for the project manager
Yes.
job, and I'm gonna review that, and at the next meeting, we're gonna talk about it so you guys can see who bid on
Okay. It's on hold. Everything's on hold.
it. Is on hold, yep. The next item is just you're being copied on the Act 250. Well, no, it's not just that. Will King is asking if the board would sign another preferred solar site.
RPC said it was a preferred site, so I don't see how we could say it isn't.
Yep.
So we
True.
need a motion to authorize me to sign on the board's behalf,
Yeah.
declaring it a preferred site.
If someone makes a motion, then it will be with the other paperwork that Brendan has to sign with the bills.
I'll make a motion for it to be a preferred site and for Brendan to sign on our behalf.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I like that process of having them go to regional first. I feel like there's no liability to the town in that. It's a good idea.
And if they had a problem, they would mention it. So the next item is just to act handy, GMC Act 250 filing. They send us usually a link now. They used to send us a telephone book, but there's no action needed on that. And the last thing, I just wanted it in the minutes that I did actually, after our last meeting, contact V-Trans. The 316, 317 was about when this pandemic thing was starting to really ramp up, and the representative from Montpelier basically suggested strongly that we put it on hold because at best the legislature was going to be reviewing the budget, and wasn't a good time to try to push this forward as well. So
They said that they were committed to working with us to make sure that the transfer happens someday, but not right now,
that is correct. Yes, that's much.
which is fair. I
that's
think we,
good, but yeah, it was fair. It wasn't meant as a slight. It's just given everything that's happened, it seems like it was a year ago, but it was only a few weeks.
need to update here. Do you have anything else for us, madam?
I don't have anything else. No, I don't think I do.
I just had a quick question about Brendan signing for us. Did we include the minutes in his being able to sign for us?
We don't sign minutes at the select board level. We do it by motion. Yeah, that was a shock to me too when I came from planning.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do, and I don't think the planning commission has.
We
to.
don't do that here.
We're in all of our minutes at planning commission.
Yeah, I know, right? Yep. So they don't require a signature. No, I don't have anything else. Our next meeting is the 20th, and it's likely we'll be doing Zoom that day as well, and maybe even in May.
And then we've got that other one that we tacked on, a special meeting for the
The
police
22nd.
contract.
Yep.
27th, around 3 or 4,
3 to 4.
somewhere in that area. We'll figure it out when Aaron's time commitments become more clear.
My first day is the 20th. I'll, in the meantime, check in with my supervisor and just see what kind of the onboarding process looks like and just let her know that there might be we're planning a special select board meeting. So, yeah.
I mean,
Would you
you're
like-
starting a new job, so if we need to do it at 4:30 or whatever to accommodate, that's totally.
Say that again, Carrie?
Would you like to tell everybody what your new position is?
Sure. I am going to be the district director for the local public health office here in St. Albans, and I will be the district director for the essential healthcare public health services that cover Franklin and Grand Isle counties.
Wow. Yeah.
Motion to congratulate Aaron Greeley. Congratulations. That's really awesome. You'll be working more locally, right? No more treks to Colchester.
4-minute commute. You can't beat that. So I'd rather a
Congratulations.
4-minute commute than a no-minute commute, which I've got right now. So
Good for you. Congratulations. Well deserved. Community will be very well served by having you in that role.
Almost kept it an hour.
Are we, what
Meaning
did-
that,
Chair report?
oh, chair.
Okay. All right, so Chad Spooner reached out and said that somebody, not Chad Spooner, Chip Sawyer, sorry, I don't know why I get those two names confused, they're totally different people. Chip reached out and said that some seniors, apparently one from Hawks Nest, reached out. They've been taking cabs to go get groceries from different retirement communities. I did that volunteer survey, and a lot of people, one of the most common things that people responded that they'd be willing to do was actually go pick up and deliver groceries. And at the time, we didn't organize that because we were waiting for guidance from the health department or the CDC on how to do that. You leave it outside, do people put something in their window so that the driver knows who it is? I mean, how do you facilitate that without making sure that the vulnerable person isn't being exposed? We didn't want the liability of organizing that without the right guidance. So I guess the only thing that I have to report on is that I'm gonna look into the guidance tomorrow to see if there is anything that's concrete. And then if there is, I'm gonna try to do like a private mission just on my own to organize these maybe 25 people who responded to this survey that said they'd be willing to do it, get their numbers on a roster, and then spread that around so that if somebody calls in and says, hi, I live at Hawks Nest, or I live at Gricebrook, and I don't wanna get my groceries, but I know roughly what I want, and I can send somebody with cash, or I can call when they get to the check-in and give them a credit card, and we can have it dropped off and just do it as a delivery service. We've got people who are willing to do that, and if we know how to do it safely, there's a need for it. So I'm gonna work on that.
Hey, Brendan, I just want to make a suggestion. Contact AgeWell. They have an office here in St. Albans, and they're coordinating Meals on Wheels right now. And I think that they serve a lot of our older Vermonters here in the area. And I think that they'll have advice on that. And they may already be working on organizing a similar sort
And
of.
then we can just give them the names. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We've got an email for AgeWell. I will do that tonight.
And
Okay.
there's also Hannaford's to go where, I mean, I know some of this, no, I just saw.
Look back up, but it's super limited and it has to be done like the day before.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very complex to get Hannaford to go right now. And they don't take cash. So,
You
No, I
know,
have to pay online, yeah.
do they take a personal check anymore? Or?
nope, not even paper coupons. It has to all be electronic.
That's
Yeah.
not good with the seniors.
Makes sense. I mean, one other thing I saw, I don't know, the supermarkets are extremely busy. And I don't know if that's something that needs to be monitored by the police department to see if they're actually following the guidance that they have been issued.
They are.
They are, I was there Saturday and I don't
I
think
mean, they
we,
put up masks, they put up like plexiglass between but their employees aren't wearing masks.
I don't think we need to go down that road just yet.
No, and like the governor said, anybody that goes out into a store must wear a mask.
No.
You would not believe the people that had masks on Sunday in Hannaford. Crazy. Had to go.
Okay, I'll leave it alone then. If we think we're good, we're good. Okay, any other business?
No.
Jessica, good? Dan?
Good.
Good.
And regional director, what's your official title, Aaron? I want to call you by your new title.
I'm district director.
District Director Creeley, are you all set?
I'm all set. Thank you. This was a good
Alan?
meeting, everyone. Very good Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Very good.
Carrie
Thank
and
you very much.
Thanks.
So Alan, Carrie, you all set?
Yes.
So,
Okay, take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Need a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay, Stanley, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Later.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Aye.
Yeah.